What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another vlog. My name is Dan Bragg, and in today's video we're going to cover 3 important concepts that I've been following for the past couple months now. Number 1 is we're going to go through the process that we take from the moment we get a deposit and how we go about the design stage, the development stage, and so on to show a ton of value. Number 2, we're going to go through how to increase your rates so that the ton of value that you show is actually paying you. And number 3, we're going to go through how to get those old clients that we first started with and charge a lot more this time by showing them a ton of value. Welcome back to another vlog. I hope you guys didn't miss me too much. And if you hear chewing in the back, it's most likely because my puppy has been on good behavior and he's enjoying his little treat. Now I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. When you receive a client, what is your onboarding process? What is the first thing you do? What is the second thing you do? The third, and so on, to show them value? If you do absolutely nothing to show value and all you do is just do the project, comment that as well. I would like to know how many of you just do that. The goal of this video is to teach you the steps that I go through with my company so that we show a ton of value to our customers when we go through with their project. Now, I'm not by any means claiming that this is my method or this is the best method. This is just from my experiences, what I've gathered throughout time, and I've refined and developed and adjusted so that it fits my company's vision and it fits the requirements of the clients so that when we deliver the project is the best of the best. Now, of course, throughout the video there will be some parts that you might miss or might not understand, so make sure you ask questions below and I'll try to do my very best to answer as much as I can. Without further ado, let's hop on my screen. Alright, so now that we are on my screen, I want to show you quite a few things that we're going to go through. Number 1 is we're going to go through the project management. So project management, I don't know if I spelled it right, but you'll do with that. Number 2, we're going to go over the first step that we take, which is the sitemap creation. Number 3 is the site flow creation. And number 4 is actually doing the wireframes. So those are the steps that we take to provide the most value to our client and to make sure we are actually on top of everything that we are doing. So number 1 is let me open my project management tool, and this is Trello. For those of you that have never heard of it, Trello.com. And of course I'm going to blur a lot of things out of here so that you don't actually see all my projects, but the idea is that I'm going to show you the headings and I'm going to walk you through how I'm actually going about creating new projects. So once I have a project created in this project management, I assign it to one of my guys, and those can be the designer, the developer, and they begin working from there. This is where we keep track of all the information, such as logins, such as comments between us, any feedback from the client. We enter it all in here. So as you can see, this is my board of following up with clients, just so I don't forget. I do have other reminders, but overall, the way to succeed is to have tons of reminders and a ton of follow-ups with your clients. And let's put it this way, there is not a single area, such as a calendar or a phone reminder or Trello here, that I don't have a replica reminder so that I'd never miss it. So there's no chance that one of those clients is not getting a follow-up from me. But as you can see, I'm labeling them in different ways, from important to not important and so on, and I follow up from top to bottom from importance-wise. The next couple tabs is new projects that come in, projects that are on hold for whatever reason, projects that are in progress, all tasks that are completed and for whatever reason they haven't been sent to the client yet, any projects that are in review in the client side and we're just waiting, and of course there are some canceled projects or closed projects completely. So let's walk through this first step. So let's just say you just got a client that paid your deposit. In this case, normally it should be 50%. You sign all the documents and you're ready to start. You have all the information, and the first step we're going to do is we're going to create a new board. So let's just call this, as an example, ABC Inc. Okay, this is going to be our project for this example. So ABC Inc. is created, and now the time is to enter the description and so on. Now this could be done in 2 steps. Either you create this board for your own notes, or you're creating this board so that your guys, when they go on it for your team, they know what to do. So in this case, I am creating the notes for myself, but what I like to do is when I create all those notes and are refined them to the point that they're pretty much there to be, in case I need to refer to them, well, I also create it in a way that my guys can read it. So my designers, my developers, they can refer to those notes just as easily as me, and they can understand and be on the same page with me on the entire project. The reason I do that is so that I can later on I can actually copy this board and to throw it towards one of their boards, and then they're ready to start working. I like to put the start date. Now, for those of you that might not have that option, you have to be on the gold membership, and you select what date the project has started on. So in this case, let's say today, and now add all the notes. So let's just say you got an e-commerce website that you're building, and we're gonna pretty much analyze really quickly what are the needs of this client. So first thing we need is the navigation. Second thing we need is to know the page structure. The other things we need is audience, the whole target audience, of course. What is the goal of the site? So goals. And of course there's many other things. I don't want to dive too deep into how you want to collect information and so on. We have another video for that. But let's just say you broke down all of that information that you need. Now, before we complete those notes, we actually need to start working on a sitemap in the site flow, which will go into this notes area. And of course, later on, it will go into a presentation that we'll send to the client. So pause on the Trello part because we're gonna jump over to another tool to create a sitemap. So I use a program called, or a website called draw.io. Now this is a very simple website. I'm sure there's programs out there like Visio or whatever that can do the same thing. And the idea of this is just to have a very simple and quick way to create a sitemap. The point of this is not to just go overboard and create a bunch of drawings. The point of this is to create a structure for the site. Now, why is this important? If the client and you are on the same page as to how every page should be laid out on the website, and of course the designer, then the whole process is so much smoother. Let alone that you're showing them that you took the time to understand what you're doing and how you're gonna go about creating a site before jumping in it. You're also doing it for yourself to minimize the amount of revisions. By doing this step, you're actually telling the client, hey, I've studied your website analysis, I've understood your market, I understand how to convert people that come to the site, and this is the page structure that I recommend going with. Now in this example, this is just one of our clients. We're not gonna dive too deep into why or how or whatever the structure is, but just to get an idea, the top, everything that's in blue, that's what the main navigation will be of the site. Now, everything that's in purple following that is actually what are the sections that's gonna be on that page. So for example, the home page, right? If you go on a home page, this is gonna be the different sections that you see on the home page. And the idea of that is so that you can visualize without building anything, without even designing anything. You're just showing them, here's what the different blocks of the homepage will be. Now, of course, those are just going to be intros to every section because the inner pages are what going to show the full story of every single section. So that's why we're going to have a breakdown of every other aspect of the site on the other tabs. Now, if you're a web developer, if you're a web designer, then most likely I don't have to explain this too much because this is pretty straightforward. The idea of this is just to illustrate to the client and to the designer and developers what are the pages and what are the structures of every page. And if you have that all intact, then everyone is on the same page and we can move on to the next tool. So this is Funalytics. This is a great tool to create a site flow of how the users will go from page to page. Now I would say I'm in very specialized area as far as user experience and user interactivity with the website. So UI UX is a big thing that I focus on. And when a user comes to the site, what's important is not the fact that they just came onto the site, but is what are they doing on the site. We don't want to just look around everywhere, kind of go over the page and then leave somewhere. We want them to actually do a certain action. So in this case, once they land on the home page, what is the next step? Are they clicking on any of the social media? Are they clicking on any of the menu items? And if they do, what happens? Well, in this case, if they click on a menu item, it auto scrolls to one of the following sections. And if you refer back to the sitemap, it's all matching it, right? So if they click on the home page and they click on our story, then they'll scroll to our story, and this is where we're gonna have our story section. If, for example, they click on contact on the sitemap, so let's go back to the sitemap. If they click on contact, it's gonna scroll down to the contact area, which will have a form in this case. And if they fill out the form and click submit, it will take them to a thank you page. Now, as you can see, this is very straightforward, but some pages can be a little bit more complicated depending on the site. For example, if you have a membership, right? So if they click on the home, if they're on the home page and they click on the login button, it's going to show them a login form. From there, once you log in, it's going to show you the member area, and from there, it's going to show you the different parts of the membership area. Now, every site will be different from one another, right? So you want to make sure the site flow is very broken down to every single page that could be potentially there. Now, this is a great way to show your designers and your developers, here's what the site is all about, and now they understand what they're doing. There's no, hey, you didn't tell me this is going to be there, and hopefully everyone is still on the same page. Now, what I like to do is, once I have this site flow created, I simply export it. So click export as PNG, and same thing with the sitemap. I go file, export, and JPEG or PNG. And then once I have those two files, I simply put them in a presentation. Now, following the presentation, it comes to the point that we need to do a wireframe. The wireframe is a very simple black and white version of the site. No pictures, no colors, no typography choice just yet, just the structure where things will go. What I really like to do is put all the elements of the site that I believe will be there at the end, and if whatever case they change, then that's fine, because this is just the wireframe. This is just a rough idea of what the site will look like when the graphics will be put on it. As you notice, along the side there is the little annotations that explain what every section is, just to give the extra touch, extra help in case it's not straightforward as it is already. Now, some specific buttons, when you click on them, they might do some sort of a scroll or so on, and obviously I can't illustrate it from a presentation or an image, but I can illustrate it in words. And if the client can start connecting the dots and they can start visioning what you're talking about with an image, then you're doing a pretty good job, because now moving forward there's no hidden like misunderstandings, there's no unexpected things that come up, and they're more prepared for the next version than you thought so. So now we've done all those 4 steps. It's pretty straightforward up to now. I know we rushed through them, but the idea is that if you go through the project management area where you fill out all the information that's needed for the project, you go through the sitemap, you create a clear path of what every page will have, you create a site flow where you know what every page will go from page to page, how the user is going to go interact with every page, and then if you create a wireframe, you're actually creating an essential structure of making sure that no revisions will be really needed, except maybe minor things, of course. But once you follow those 4 steps right here, there's very limited chance that the client will be like, oh wow, this is not what I want at all. Because you have a structure, they see that you're a professional, you know what you're doing, you've researched them, you've researched their site and how the market is, and you're showing them a ton of value. If you do this, there's no reason why you can't charge a lot, because you're showing that you're putting the work in. And the difference between a $1,000 website and a $15,000 or a $30,000 or so on is the amount of value that you portray and the amount of value you show, and of course the amount of results that you bring. By doing those steps, you're actually showing that you've researched this stuff, and chances are when you develop the site, the results will be there to back it up. So now that we went through all this process, I believe that you have a better understanding as to what you need to do to show your client a lot of value. Now, I've also promised at the beginning of the video, we're gonna go through how can you get old clients that paid you maybe $1,000 or $2,000, how can you make them pay $10,000, $15,000? But here's the thing, most clients that you work with in the past don't really remember how much they've paid before. I mean, they have a good understanding and a good idea, but chances are they're not holding on to the, okay, I paid him $1,000, most likely another site will be $1,000. They understand that you've moved on in your career, they know that you've probably improved, and if you've done a good enough job with sending them emails and newsletters and so on, they know that you've evolved and you've improved a lot yourself. And when you tell them that the new site that they want is going to be 10 grand or 15 grand, chances are they already know that they can trust you once. Yes, that's a lot of money now compared to what it used to be, but it's all relative. If they're asking for another site, chances are they've also improved their position in their life. Chances are they've made a lot more money too. And now they understand that you as an expert, you can show them the same amount of value, if not a lot more this time, that will bring them bigger returns. The biggest thing in this business is to maintain a good reputation, to have good client relationships, and just to show a ton of value to your clients. You do those things and you're guaranteed to be able to charge more, you're guaranteed to have return customers, and you're guaranteed to have your business grow all the time. If this video was helpful to you, I want you to learn what have you learned so far from this video, what are you going to implement in your next closed deal, and how are you planning to show a lot of value to your clients in your next meeting. Until next time guys, make sure you subscribe to the video and I'll see you in the next vlog.